In this presentation, we're going to discuss about functions in C. So this is the general nature of a computer program. Read or write from computer memory, do operations on the data, hand over that particular data to someone else, which is a function in this case, to do additional processing. So what are functions and why we need functions? So a computer program cannot do all the required action by itself, just like us. We buy a car. We never make a car. But certain things we do ourselves as well, like make food, make drinks, etc. So computer programs depends on other functions to delegate a particular job. So you can pass a variable into function and return a value from a function, which is the input and output of the function respectively. So function is a part of the program which can be called for a specific task to be done. So the best example we have already seen is the printf. Printf is a function we use to display anything on the console. So we're gonna see a function which is written by ourselves. I'm gonna create a new project in Visual Studio. In the main function, I'm gonna call another function called printf. And print hello world. So here I'm calling a function to print hello world onto the console, as we have seen already. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make another function of my own, like printf, which adds two values. So first I have to declare the function. So first I have to write the return value, which is the output, int sum int a int b. So this is called declaration of the function. So declaration of the function contains what are the input to the function and what are the output. So you can have only one output. In the later presentation, we will see how to return multiple number of outputs from a function through the input itself. So in this particular function, I'm taking two integers and I'm going to return the sum of those two integers here. So now this is just a declaration of the function. Now I have to write the logic of this function, which means I have to define that function and tell the program what is that particular function is going to do. So for that, I'm gonna define the function sum int a comma int b. Now the difference between declaration and definition is, instead of the semicolon, I'm gonna put the braces. So this means that this is a definition of a function and this is a declaration of a function. So now down this particular parenthesis, so this is where inside you put the arguments. So that is also important. So very simple. So return a plus b. So this is the function. So now I can call that function from other functions, for example main. So I have int my a equal to 10 and my b equal to 20, pretty much anything. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna call the function sum int my sum equal to sum my a my b. So these are two integer variables which contain 10 and 20 respectively, and I'm gonna pass it to the function sum. So this is how I call a function. We have already seen how to call a function. So this is how you call a different function with different type of argument. So I should pass an integer variable here, int variable here. So I can do this as well. Int another sum equal to sum 30, 50. Let's see if it is compiling. So I have to build it first. Yeah, build was successful. Everything is okay. So now I'm gonna put a breakpoint to see what is the result if my function working correctly. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna drop this here and this here. So here I have passed 30 and 50, so I got 80 here, which is a sum of 30 and 50. I passed 10 and 20 in my A and my B respectively to sum. So the sum of those two variables is 30, and I got 30 here. So I'm getting the correct output. So my function is working. So this is how you declare, and this is how you define a function, and this is how you use a function. So I can use a function from any other function, including that function itself. So next thing I would like to show in function is debugging into a function. So I'm gonna put a breakpoint here. I'm gonna press the play button. So I got a breakpoint hit here. You can see the yellow arrow here. So now I'm going to press F10, which is equivalent to step over this particular button. I can press this particular button, or I can press F10 to execute the printf statement, F10. So as we were expecting, we got the hello world here. Now pressing F10 again, now I got this particular statement. So in this particular statement I have sum. So if I want to debug into that function, for example, I want to debug into this particular portion of the code, I have to go into that function. The key I have to press is F11. So I reached into the definition of that function, provided I have the source code of that function. Some of the functions we call from libraries, we don't have source code, so this is not possible in those kind of libraries. So in that case, Visual Studio will consider F10 and F11 as the same. So what I have pressed is F11, which is called step into. So now I can press F10 again. Now if I want to get out of this function, another key combination, step out, which is Shift F11. So I'm gonna press Shift F11 here. Shift F11. So I got out of that function, so I executed that particular function. I completed execution of this function and I came out here. So for example, now the value the value is not at assigned, but the summation has already been done. So if I press F10, I'll get the value. Like that, if I want to go into sum again, I can do F11, again F10. So I got the values here, 30 and 50. Again, I'm pressing F10. I reached here and I have finished. So I got the output. So we have seen how to declare, define a function and use a function. Also, we have seen how to debug into a function with F10, F11 and Shift F11. So now let's go back to our slides. So we have seen functions, return value and arguments, which are the input to the functions. So that's it. Thank you.